Man, those keyboards pump me up. Greetings, humans.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah, we got our friend Dave Fitzpatrick from The Great Awakening on today. How's it going, Dave?
Going awesome. How you guys doing?
Very good, very good. It's a big week. It's a big week in the world of ancient lost civilization. Yeah, in exactly 2 days, the three of us are going to be on Pilot Mountain, possibly in North Carolina.
Yep.
Hiking up the mountainside, getting ready to look at the sunset on the solstice in context of the surroundings.
Yeah, I supposedly on the solstice, it when the sun sets, it sets in the shadow of a pyramid. So it's going to be pretty cool. And why are we doing that? Why are we all going to be in North Carolina, Dave?
Well, I think there's something called a cosmic summit that's going on, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And the reason why we brought Dave on the show is because he went to the first Cosmic Summit. I believe this is the third, so he'll be a 3-time attendee, correct?
Yep. Yeah. One of the best shows on the planet. Trust me. It's for those that haven't gone.
Yeah, we went last year. It sounds like it just keeps building each year because this year George went all out. Like he's got all kinds of stuff going on. We're going to go through some of that stuff today on our show. But I did want to mention that on Saturday we hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much to all of our subscribers. Yeah, 500 took forever, and then 1,000 seemed to happen in a few weeks, which was wild.
A lot faster, for sure. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. Whatever platform you've been getting our videos on or our streams, thanks for downloading, watching, all the above. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and that reminds me, we are live right now on Facebook, X, Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch. We might have a special guest joining the show. We're not sure because he's a very busy man this week, but he may make an appearance. So we'll just wait and see. But I wanted to start real quick and just have Dave introduce himself. Dave's got an episode of Humans of the Multiverse coming out next Friday. But so you guys will get to know Dave really well in a week. But Dave, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this stuff and whatnot.
Oh boy. Well, I'll try and keep it short. So
remember, you're going to tell the full story in a week as well.
yeah,
So.
I know. So I'll keep it down to just a minute or two. So lifetime Columbus, Ohio area resident. I got into this stuff as a little kid. It's a fluke, and if you watch the episode coming up, you'll learn all the details about that. Actually studied archaeology and geology at Ohio State. And then starting my fourth year, I did a whole 360 and got into business management instead. But I kept all this fascination with our ancient history as sort of a side hobby. And then really, probably within the last 15, 20 years, I've had a lot more time and availability to study this stuff on the side. And I literally, probably 3+ hours a day I put into, as a matter of fact, I got a stack of papers here. There's another gentleman, Mike Bucci, who
Yes.
you got Dave and Mike there. Well, we're the original Dave and Mike from the first Cosmic Summit. Met him. He's from Pennsylvania, and he wrote a nice research paper on cart ruts. So he asked me, "Hey, Dave, could you give this your eyeballs?" And it's sitting on my desk here now for the last couple weeks. I haven't had a chance. I got to get to that. But anyway, so no, I just again have a fascination with all this stuff, and then George had his first summit here 3 years ago. Hard to believe it's been 3 years ago. And I'll tell you, for anybody watching this video here right now that has not been to one of the Cosmic Summit programs, you're in for a treat, and I guarantee you will be speaking with people and making new friends. It's almost like a home away from home, actually. I think you guys, you've got a story there how you guys met as well, but it's just fun. It is an absolute blast, and you will absolutely come back again, guaranteed.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to get a picture of the original Mike and Dave with the new Mike and Dave. Maybe there'll be a third Mike and Dave that meet each other at this year's event, and then there'll be a triple Mike and Dave.
There you go.
Do a big triple podcast. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and actually that would be what's called a synchronicity, and it just made me want to mention, did anybody watch the newest Y-Files this week? Did you ever watch the Y-Files, Dave?
I do, but I did not catch the more recent one, no.
Okay, it was about synchronicities, so we usually cover a little bit about that on the live stream. Mike, what did you think about that episode?
It was an excellent episode. It reminded me of a lot of stuff that I learned from a book called Spontaneous Evolution by Dr. Bruce Lipton. Just talking about the power of positive willful intention and the fact that people can influence things with their minds. This is a simple fact. It's something we're all capable of doing. So let's do it in the right way. And then synchronicities are sort of one of the ways that it becomes evident and apparent that, hey, you really are shaping your own reality. Or maybe it's a reminder or a sign or something. Who knows? Yeah, things seem to happen.
They do, and I can think of specific times in my life that I won't get into. Hey, Rubate, what's up, man? Watching from Australia. Love all. Thank you for tuning in. Love all your support. I can think of specific times in my life where I've had like a vision of me in the future that I was downloading from somewhere, and every day it was there, and every day I was working towards it, and things just seemed to come together and make big things happen for me. And that's a way you can kind of hack the multiverse by like Mike said, willful intention, you know what I mean? But I don't know that I've ever experienced a direct, like super obvious synchronicity where it's like, whoa, this is so, actually, I just lied. I did experience that. I just had a memory, guys, that I'm going to share with you about a synchronicity that happened to me when I was in Iraq. Okay. One of the jobs I used to do while I was in Iraq was pick up supplies, medical supplies for our what we called it was the medic tent, right, where you go do sick call and whatever. And so anyway, I would go pick up supplies at a bigger base. I went to the supply depot, whatever we called it back then, with my buddy to pick up a bunch of stuff. And this girl that was working there, she takes one look at me and she goes, "No fucking way. Stay right there. I'll be right back." And she runs off. And I'm like, what the hell hell was that? And she brings some confused guy around the corner. My last name's Floyd, just gave it away. Okay. This guy's last name was Floyd. Okay. On his name tape. He looked exactly like me. Okay. And his name was David Floyd. And the weird part, the weirdest part was my birthday is February 11th, 1982. His birthday was February 12th, 1983. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And so that is the biggest synchronicity that's ever happened to me in my life. So I don't know. You ever experienced anything like that, Dave, where just like the universe lined something up really weird like that for you?
Oh, for sure. But I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. But I think everybody does. Actually,
probably, right? Yeah,
at some point in time. Yeah,
that one just happened to shoot out of my mind there. I can't believe that. That's a wild one, though. Is that not weird? He was my doppelganger.
That's wild. Did you get any pictures with the guy?
I did, but this was in 2005, so it was like on an old crappy camera, and I don't even know if I know how to access those pictures. Yeah. I'll have to go look. I'm gonna look into that because I have that camera somewhere in a shoebox with like old military things. Maybe someday someone like I don't have kids, but if I did, my grandkids would find it someday and I don't know, try to find that information. But either way,
it might still be accessible. That's worth looking into because that's a really good. That's right up there with the examples given in the Y files.
Yes, definitely. Well, think about it. We live in Iraq at the exact same time from the United States, and we got the exact same name. His name was David. I don't want to give. I'm giving out all my personally identifiable information right now, but he had a very similar middle name to me as well. So yeah,
keep it anonymous here in the multiverse.
I guess not anymore. Apparently not anymore. Speaking of the multiverse, I just wanted to show off something quick. We did get a little merch to bring to Cosmic Summit. We're not selling it. It's really just to represent our channel. Mike's going to be wearing this exact T-shirt. I'm wearing the exact T-shirt right now, but that's the front. That's the front of it. That's the front of it there. Yep. We also got
logo designed by Brittany. What a cool looking logo. Thanks, Brittany.
Nice.
Yes, Brittany, our wonderful producer who saves our butt more often than you guys might think. And she designed this logo. And these things turned out beautiful. Thank you to Mr. George Sakalaris, who is an early guest on the show. I wanted to start today off a little bit with I wanted to show our Cosmic Monday trailer. You've been watching our Cosmic Monday series, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you. And anyone else who's been watching it, thank you. That was also Brittany's idea. Hello, Tammy K. Where are you watching from? Let us know where on planet Earth you're watching from.
Sorry, catching up on some messages. Yes, Rubate, this is Dave, the Great Awakening.
Yes, Great Awakening guy. Yes, sir. That's him. And
hello, Tammy and Sarah. Thanks for joining the show. Thanks for joining the chat.
Yes. We love everyone joining the chat. We love when you guys comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Yes, I am on TV. So I was watching Sarah on her new podcast, Universe Unveiled. Her and Jacqueline are doing that show, and I was watching them, and I sent her a text and a picture of the TV, and I said, "You're on TV." So now she's getting me back. And yes, my head has no business being this big on a TV. So, but yeah, so Cosmic Monday's been a labor of love, guys. We put a lot of work into it. We got to interview some of the biggest people in the space, and it was we had no business doing it. I'm telling you that right now. We got really lucky. Hello, Buck. Just making friends with George Howard, getting the sign off from him, Brittany coming up with the idea and really just chasing down some of these big names. And so I'm going to show the Cosmic Monday trailer. Some of you guys might have seen it before, but if not, go back and check this out. We had a bunch of great guests come on for this series, and it was a lot of fun, but we're actually glad it's over because it was a lot of work.
We should have, we kind of doubled up. We should have spread it out instead of doubling up. But it was still fun nonetheless. It was a blast.
when we learned our lesson for next year. So when we do Cosmic Monday next year, we're going to pause our other weekly series so that we don't burn ourselves out, because that we got close. But check it out, guys. Cosmic Monday. Here we go. Oop, let's play. There we go. Sound.
Welcome to our new series,
Cosmic Monday.
It's almost time for the Cosmic Summit 2025 in Greensboro, North Carolina, June 20th to the 23rd.
Hey, we're generating excitement for the event, guys, by bringing you engaging interviews with some of the speakers and guests from this year's outstanding lineup.
So press in the promo code
Multiverse
to get 10% off your passes to meet, greet, and rub elbows with some of the biggest names on the cutting edge of suppressed and forgotten science,
human origins, and the history of planet Earth.
Join Mike and Dave at the Cosmic Summit,
where truth seekers go to party.
Sometimes, I don't know, in the wider conference room, surely, but you can actually kind of make news too.
Because sometimes the most important question that aren't being asked in the mainstream, and this summit gives us a space to ask them. And of course, I'm also looking forward to meeting people, both old friends and I hope lots of new friends also, that I can share the same curiosity.
I have a huge announcement if y'all want to get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go right to it.
I have been in very good touch now with the Italian researchers behind the Caffrey project, right? And they're coming to Greensboro. And they're going to reveal entirely new information to a global audience.
What do you think the role of content creators like your Ben Van Kerkwicks, Wandering Wolf, Michael Collins, as far as bringing these topics to a wider audience?
Oh, it's great. I mean, without Ben, I don't think we'd be in the position we're at. I've met so many people.
Goodness, well, who doesn't have a fascination with the pyramids? Once you start learning about all of these things, well, what do you do with it?
A woman contacted me and told us a story about an artifact that her husband found 50 years ago working on a construction site. And it's an Egyptian artifact. And I have to tell you, this artifact is really, really interesting. But what the hell is it doing in Texas?
Can be passively accepted, spoon-fed models of reality. People who are willing to think independently, outside the box, free thinkers who are coming together going, you know what? I think that this story of human civilization and human life on this planet is far deeper and far more complex than we've been told.
Yeah, and I really want to. I think we need a T-shirt with Scott Walter that says, "And what the hell is it doing in Texas?" I would buy
tagline.
I would buy that T-shirt. But just want to. I've seen every episode of Scott's show, so it's like super weird talking to him. I've seen so much Randall Carlson. I'm sure Dave, you've consumed a bunch of Randall Carlson too, right?
Oh yeah, I actually hope he's speaking on the geology of the Nile River area over in Egypt. He's been putting a number of snippets out on that. That's to me is really fascinating. I think there's just tons there yet to learn.
Yep.
But
yeah.
And Adam Young, I really enjoyed your interview with him. I'm actually going to New York City, the week after the Cosmic Summit, to go see Adam, and he's doing a presentation on the ancient Egyptian hardstone vases.
So is he doing that at the museum, like the Adventures Club or whatever, Explorers Club? Is that what that is?
Yeah, the Explorers Club, right?
Yep. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. Maybe
Brittany lives in the area. Maybe she can come do some coverage. I don't know.
There you go.
But yeah, I got it. The next thing I'm going to show, and this is an exclusive, you guys. Okay, we got the opportunity to. Yeah, we got the opportunity to interview one of the biggest names in this space, Mr. Robert Schoch and his wife, Captain Ulysses. But the universe, we were getting lucky. Threw us a
curveball.
Threw us a curveball. And we had a terrible audio glitch. And so most of the interview was unusable. But we did use it for a video edited by Brittany herself. It's called Cosmic Mashup. It's just a mashup of all the best parts of all the interviews. It's about 30 minutes long. I'm going to show a short clip of us talking to Robert Schoch and Captain Ulysses because Pixar, it didn't happen. I said it was on. I told everyone on the show that we did this, and and we're not going to be able to show a full interview, but we are going to be able to show 15-ish minutes of us talking to them during this Cosmic Mashup that comes out on Friday. So here we go.
And we'll bring George in right after that. What's up, George? We see you. We're on the way. I'm gonna hide us real quick, just for.
I wanted to just start off with just a little anecdote because this is about Cosmic Summit for the most part, and I don't know if you guys remember this. Maybe this will jog your memory. I don't remember exactly what presentation it was, but first of all, I've been following your work since Mystery of the Sphinx. I watched it on A&E on TV in the middle of the night in like 1999 or something like that, or maybe even 1995, something like that.
No, actually, it first aired in 1993, so I don't know if I saw the first airing or not.
I was probably 13.
Yeah. If it was A&E, did you say?
Yes.
That was a re-airing because it was originally on NBC. During what they used to call back then Sweeps Week, because they wanted something that would catch a lot of people's attention, and apparently it was very successful in doing that.
It caught mine.
It caught my 13-year-old attention too, and that's like kind of what led us to go to Cosmic Summit, like long story short. And so Mike and we met there, we hung out the whole weekend. We're sitting there at one of the morning presentations, and I look behind me, and there's Robert Schoch and Katie Ulysses sitting there, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So I actually snuck out. I snuck out of the presentation, ran up to my hotel room, and grabbed this because I had brought it with me to have you sign. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you have to get the new one.
No, that's Voices of the Rock.
I know, that's an oldie, and all his solar outburst, which actually was interesting to present at Cosmic Summit, which is sort of the impact.
The Younger Dryas, yeah. Mm-hmm.
However, we think the impact was solar.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop that. But I did, there's another 10 or 15 minutes of that, which is dropping on Friday. But I did buy the book, and so did Mike, and we're going to get the new book, and we're going to get it signed this weekend by Catherine and Robert, because Catherine actually made a huge contribution to this, and you're going to hear about that at Cosmic Summit. Did George Howard just join the room?
Yeah, let's bring him on in. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are y'all?
Yeah. Hey, George.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
Awesome.
Do you have to trade me out for Robert and Katie, or?
No. That was just a quick short of what we're planning to drop on Friday.
I thought you were talking to him. Okay.
No.
Right when I signed on. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, sir. That episode's dropping on Friday. We just were showing a quick little preview. You're in the car, are you? Are you on the road?
I just pulled up. Hey, Dave Fitzpatrick, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing, George? Sounds like you've had.
I'm doing good. I just pulled up Sheraton.
Heck yeah.
Got a bad connection from you.
Yep.
I can hear the host pretty good. Can I hear?
You're breaking up a little bit for us.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just got to town, and
Yep.
Damn, it was pretty good there for a minute.
For those of you guys who don't know, Mr. George Howard is the promoter and the man behind the Cosmic Summit. We can hear you. There you are. I think you're back.
Let me kill that. Does that help?
Yeah, that might work a little.
Yeah,
that does help. Yeah, that does help.
Yeah.
It does. So you just arrived at the Sheraton?
Y'all are still really bad. I could pop back in maybe 20, 30 minutes after I get on Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
or maybe go upstairs.
Let's do
you
that.
know, it's always uncertain checking into a hotel.
Let's do that, sir. We'll be on for at least an hour or so. So come on and jump
we'll
on in
hope
when
for
you get
the
on some
best.
Wi-Fi. All right.
Okay, it hope for the best, because anything can happen, right? I'm entering this hotel and it's, you know, under all sorts of crazy circumstances. Okay, I hope.
Yeah, I had the same issue last year, actually. I had to keep running outside in the parking lot. You got to get a little ways out there before you get good reception on your phone. But
yeah, it looks like he's back in. No, you back in, George? No. All right. I'm glad he gave it a shot, though. That's why I put Ann's special guest, because we weren't sure if he was going to be able to make it. As you guys might imagine, George has a shitload of stuff going on this week, and well, Rubate just said deciding whether a virtual pass is worth it. I can tell you if you use code 3CAMS, you get it for $50 US, and you get access to every single guest. I think it's 40 plus presentations. You're going to have access to, I wanted George to be able to tell you about it, Rue, but you're going to have access to what they're jokingly calling the Randall cam, but only Randall's going to be wearing it for sometimes. But people are going to be trading off these cams, and this cam that's going to be basically alive, walking around and talking to people during the event. You're going to have access to, so for example, while we're there, we're going to have to choose, right, between which stage we want to look at. You're going to have access to everything. And you're going to be able to, that's why they're calling it 3CAMS. And it's only $50. So promo code 3CAMS, Rue. But yeah, Cosmic Summit is going to be a lot different this year. I wanted Dave to kind of share a little bit about the difference between the first year and the second year, and then we'll get into what's going on this year. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Yeah. So the first year, the event was held in Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful city. I don't know if you've ever been there. I had not been, and it had a pretty good turnout. But I think George learned a lot. It was the inaugural event. Learned a lot as far as I get, you know, the setting up the rooms, the speakers, doing the breakout sessions and that sort of thing. And then last year was just phenomenal. You know, and then that's the real interesting part of it is you're looking through the list of speakers. You'll have throughout the day a primary speaker that everyone watches, and then you have these breakout sessions, and you have two different folks that might be speaking on different topics. And the trick is, well, and everybody's good. I mean, everybody that's on this list. And you're like, well, darn, who do I go see? But I guess the beauty is, you know, you get back in town if you're there in person, and you can always go back and watch the presentations of the folks that you ended up missing. But it's sort of funny. The last couple of years I went, we had my family had a vacation in Myrtle Beach, and the thing fell right at smack in the middle of that vacation. So I break away from Myrtle Beach to go up to the Cosmic Summit and then back. But again, I think whether you're watching this stuff from home on video, and I can tell you, I don't know who the production crew is that George uses, but they are outstanding. They getting all the camera shots and everything, and because I've seen them, and it's almost like you're there. I mean, the way they film the thing, but and then I mean, the beauty of it is these folks that are speaking. I mean, these are internationally known speakers, most all of them, and you get to sit there and they're part of the, you know, the conference as well, outside of their speaking roles, and you can sit and speak with them and ask them questions and all that. And I'm sure you'll get into detail about some of the speakers this year, but again, if you're into any type of ancient history, or, you know, elements in that realm, this is the conference for you. So
Yeah, it is. And Mike and I, one of the things that Mike and I loved last year was when you're there in person, at least, is you really do get to, hang out with these people that you've, watched on Joe Rogan, or you've watched on their own podcast, or you've seen on X or whatever. And do you have any like memories of like meeting somebody that you like, were, really excited to meet?
Well, two of them. I mean, Randall Carlson,
Mm-hmm.
and then the big one for me was Ben Van Kerkwyk, Uncharted X, and because we had been sort of communicating on the side for a couple of. I was an early subscriber to his channel, and he had. I just thought, man, this guy is really putting out some fascinating video on Egyptian topics, and just beautiful videos, and so yeah, just going and actually meeting Ben, that one stuck out above the rest, because we'd been communicating offline, and then to meet him in person also, that was a good one.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Ben. Like, I went out in the hallway to make a phone call, and Ben Van Kerkwyk was walking by, and I was like, "Hey, I gotta go." And I hung. I was like, "Hey, Ben, how's it going?" But I just wanted to share a quick picture of Mike and I and the Palmer Bros. Those were our other friends we met last year. That's just us hanging.
Joe Palmer.
Yes, that's us hanging out with Randall Carlson at the party on Friday night. So
yeah,
you just see these guys walking around, Mike, tell us a little bit about Steve and Joe Palma. Those were good guys we met.
It was really cool hanging out with them and being able to sit at the table. I liked the table setup of Cosmic Summit, where you could sort of set something down and maybe have a little notebook, take some notes. I like taking notes, whatever. We had just gone to Contact in the Desert over in California and had a blast, no doubt. But it was all like just auditorium seating. So you just rows of chairs, no like table or desk or anything. I really like sitting at the table in between the presentations. You would eat with the same folks you had just sat around the table with and listen, and you get to start talking about what you had just listened to. And that was our friendship with the Palmer Bros through the weekend. And we hope they're both doing great wherever they're at right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're coming back this year, but either way, like I said, we hope they're doing great. And yeah, that was one of my favorite things. I hope they're still doing the circular table thing, because then it becomes much more communal, right?
Yes.
And then you can just simply turn your chair when it's time for a speaker, right?
Yep.
And
I also like Dave. You had mentioned the streams are available afterwards.
Yes.
Pretty much the week after I got back from Cosmic Summit, I just started watching all the videos that were on the stages that I couldn't go see, because for parts of the day you had to make a choice, stage A or stage B. And I would just go watch all the stages that I didn't have time to see in person.
Yeah. And I this year is going to be much bigger for a few different reasons. One, they've got all these special events that we're going to talk about that they didn't have last year, and I'm going to try my best to talk about some of them. We'll have, if George gets back on, he'll fill in the gaps for us, but that's the first thing I wanted to cover. And I don't know if you guys saw Project Unity's recent video he put out of the Coffrey Project guys doing the technical analysis. But I watched some of it this morning. But these guys, that's one of the big draws this year, right? Is this everyone in their dog who's not even into this stuff heard about this, right? And these guys are going to be doing their technical analysis and taking questions and stuff live in front of a global audience.
New information.
Yeah, supposedly new information. What do you guys think about this Coffrey Project thing?
I actually saw Jay's recording of the some of the stuff they revealed there in Malta just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about this. And it sounds like they've got a lot more that they didn't talk about at Malta, that they are going to talk about at the Cosmic Summit. And I mean, this is, I gotta believe this is going to be worldwide news. If this stuff is, for me anyway, it comes down to the technology, and is the technology really working the way it appears to be? And if somehow we in fact find out that there are these structures that far down under literally a big chunk of the Giza Plateau, holy moly! I mean, our history's totally going to be rewritten.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I hope it's real. I as you can see in my poster behind me, I want to believe, and I don't believe everything I'm told. That's for sure. But I definitely want. I want there to be a giant subterranean everything they're saying under there. You know, I guess the tricky part is it's new technology, so people are going to want to that's, and it hasn't been peer reviewed. I guess it was peer reviewed in 2022 for a different project that was much less. Do you remember, Mike?
So they released a paper about similar technology on the Giza pyramids themselves, and about how they were able to detect known chambers of known dimensions and locations inside the pyramids. And I also watched part of the Malta presentation that Jay Anderson posted. I was sort of also preparing and cooking some food yesterday, but Filippo Biondi did a good job of explaining the technology, and also Jeffrey Drum from the Land of Kim YouTube channel asked some really excellent questions, very professional, since Jeffrey has firsthand knowledge from walking in, around, about, underneath, crawling through all these various passages and chambers on the Giza Plateau. Him and his wife live in Giza, and they both have tremendous YouTube channels. So overall, it was good. I can't wait to learn more. There's definitely something going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Mr. Fitzpatrick said, if even like half of what they're saying is true, or even a quarter, it changes everything.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm still rejecting the null hypothesis that we know everything there is to know underneath Giza. It was simply, you know, a tomb for ritual, ceremonial purposes, and that there's nothing else to see or look for or understand. I reject that hypothesis soundly, and I'm willing to entertain about anybody else's at this point.
Yeah, you know, the one interesting thing to me, and I guess I'll have to see how, you know, what they give in the presentation, but when you're on the Giza, when you're there on the causeway actually that runs from the middle pyramid down to the Sphinx, there clearly is stuff under there. I mean, you've got the Osiris shaft and all, and there's other, I mean, Yusuf, he was actually kicking sand in cracks. It's almost like you're walking on a stone roof, is about the best way to put it. And with a cavity or cavities under there. And now this is directly just underneath the bedrock. So, but I'm going to be curious to see if some of their scanning has picked that stuff up. But I mean, folks aren't allowed down in there. And I would hope that their scanning would have picked some of that up as in addition to what they've shown, at least publicly. I mean, maybe this is some of the stuff that they'll reveal at the summit, but that to me is what's going to be interesting.
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to finding out, and if you guys know anything about this, is the whole water table controversy. Supposedly because the known water table, and I'm not a geologist, okay, but we know what's under there in the water, the amount of water under there would make it difficult to have, you know, some kind of subterranean structure underneath. So I want to hear what they have to say about that. And maybe they talked about that in the Project Unity video. Yeah. Did they, Dave? Did they mention that?
Good point. No, I don't know. I cut it off towards the end. Okay. So unless it was at the end, Mike, did you watch the whole thing, or
about 2/3 of it? And honestly, I was chopping veggies. I was following pretty well when I was sort of facing towards the TV doing the chopping. When I turned towards the stove, I turned the volume up a little bit, but I was not following it as well. Yeah. But I did watch part of it yesterday.
Yeah. But no, that is a good point. I mean, in the Osiris shaft, the water used to be much higher, and folks would actually swim in there. And it's all the way down. Now there's still water in there, but it's clear down at the third level, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a tunnel there that then goes even further down, and we just don't know about it, or at least the general public doesn't. But
I
that
sure
is a
hope
good
so.
question. Yeah,
I sure
Yeah.
hope it is. I hope it's true. But I'm also again, I want to believe, but I don't believe everything I'm told.
Exactly.
The next thing is the Atlantica premiere. If you don't know, Michael Donnellan's groundbreaking documentary premieres live at Cosmic Summit 2025. Witness the evidence, see the site, and decide for yourself. Did we just find it? They're talking about Atlantis. According to Brittany, who's been talking a lot with the one of the organizers, they got this thing on wrap. Okay, so you cannot take a camera in there. You can't video anything while you're in there. This is an exclusive revelation, and also the people who I've heard who have seen it were like pretty blown away at the end of this documentary, going, "Wow, what did they just find?" So don't shoot the messenger if it's not that if it's not that big of a deal, but that's what I've heard behind the scenes. I don't know. They're not going to get to watch it on the virtual pass, I'm betting, right? I honestly don't know.
Sounds unlikely given the no filming protocols.
Yeah. But I am going to show a trailer for Atlantica. We watched the trailer live on this show a couple months ago, and but we're going to show it again quick. It doesn't give away much, but it looks really well filmed. So let's check it out.
If anyone had told me 6 years ago that we would go in search of Atlantis, I would have said they were crazy. And yet, here we are, knowing what we know. Not a myth, not a legend. Atlantis was real. The lost empire Plato described in such precise detail actually existed. I have seen these structures with my own eyes. I have touched them with my own hands. These years of field research are about to write a whole new chapter in human history. They will help resolve those eternal questions of where we came from and how we got here. Pinpointing the exact location of Atlantis was to be just the beginning. What I knew then and what I know now, well, see for yourself.
Dun, 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 dun.
I didn't see the reshot structure in there.
Nope. Jimmy's going to have a lot to say about that, huh?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I am wondering if someone with just sufficient world travel geological background could maybe sort of narrow it down what continent or what from the minute and a half of footage shown there. Not sure.
I mean, yeah, people are able to like solve internet mysteries and stuff with like really short clips of like video. They're able to find exactly where certain things have happened and stuff like that. Internet sleuths and stuff.
A really determined AI prompter could probably take that trailer and reverse run a few of the clips, maybe find a landscape. Who knows? I'm not that determined. Yeah. I'll watch it this weekend with my phone turned off to respect the filmmaker.
One thing I did notice was it said a series from. So I wonder if we're gonna get a drop off, like a cliffhanger, and then have to wait for something else. I don't know. Did you notice that?
Interesting. No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it said there was a graphic that said a series from Michael Donnellan. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. I think that's gonna be Friday night, but we'll get to that. The Vase Room with Matt Bell. Step into a curated exhibit of ancient Egyptian stone vases that challenge everything we know about history and technology. High-resolution scans, tool mark analysis, and expert insight all in one place, only at Cosmic Summit. So Matt Bell is bringing a few dozen of these bad boys. and I think you're going to be able to get your hands on them.
Let's hear it for Out of Place Artifacts. We're going to have Out of Place Artifacts in the house at Cosmic Summit.
Yes. And Dave, when you were in Egypt, did you guys go to the museum? And if so, did you see some of these things?
Yeah, we went to several museums actually, and every one of them had, I think there's 3 or 4 of them that we visited, and they all had various hardstone ancient Egyptian vases in there. And there were a few of them that appeared visually, at least from behind the glass counter, as precise as what Matt has in his collection. And
Wow.
I'll tell you, if you're able to hold any of these things, that's the mind-blowing part. I mean, because he brought one last year. I went up. I actually was bidding against him. I didn't know that at the time on some of these things, mainly to get them in the hands of somebody. Because if I'd won the bidding on any of them, it was going to be, here you go, Ben, get the team together and go to town on these things. But someone kept, I thought, man, I hope this person, whoever's, if it's the same person, winning the bids on these vases, that they're making them available to Ben and company for analysis. And I actually posted something on X or Twitter at the time. It was a beautiful little dark green stone with gold rim around the top. And I said that someone had just bought the thing. Hopefully it's in good hands, or hopefully Ben or somebody it'll be made available to for analysis. And then Matt replied, "It's in good hands." So anyway, he brought one, a beautiful granite one, to the summit last year, and he just was carrying it around in a knapsack, and he pulled the thing out. Here, do you want to hold it? And I tell you, it's just that is even more mind blowing when you actually hold one of these things, and see how it looks like it was just made, and the polish on it. Yeah, I tell you that this thing is going to be really fascinating, and to see people's reactions to these, because they are just jaw-dropping.
The level of perfection and precision of the symmetry is so impressive, and this was coming from pre-dynastic Egyptian cultures that reportedly didn't have the technology to shape hard stone into small vessels of amazing precision. This would be a challenge for manufacturers today. Anybody that's worked in manufacturing. Derek Mullins, what's up?
Hey man, what's up everyone? Go check out Derek's episode of Humans of the Multiverse. He's got an incredibly inspiring story to share. And thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello during the live stream, my friend. Keep up the good work.
It was so uplifting to meet Derek and interview him and hear his story. And shoot, man, great episode. Everybody should check it out.
Everyone should check it out. Yeah. And, Mike and I like UFOs, UAPs. We like ancient lost history, but we also like anybody with a good story. Anyone who's, got an inspiring story, an interesting story. It doesn't have to be about that. That's kind of how we met Derek. And he's a survivor of childhood cancer. Now he's a total badass. So check it out. We really appreciate doing an episode with him. And Brittany just posted Derek's interview below because Brittany is on it like that. I wanted to mention just a little bit about these vases. So this room, I believe, is going to be available all weekend. There's going to be someone manning this room, and you can go in there, and they're going to have the scans available. They're going to have like the tool mark analysis available. Some of these things, and I saw Praveen Mohan, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but I saw Praveen Mohan do an episode with Matt Bell, and then Matt Bell let Praveen Mohan do an episode of his show from Matt's studio, and they did the whole episode of Praveen's show on these vases. And I didn't know this, but some of them, when you spin them, they just keep spinning. All right. They'll spin forever, almost, like not forever, but like in some cases, several minutes to hours at a time. You just spin it and it just keeps going. A lot of them most of them do not have a flat bottom. They're perfectly rounded to a point, and they spin. That's so wild. Why would you do something that difficult for no reason at all? I don't get it. So yeah, anyway, that is one of the parts of this year's event that's going to be so much different than the ones in the past. Is it's just going to be so much more interactive, right? You're going to have the vase room, hands on. We also got the Pilot Mountain trip. I was talking to Dave a little bit about this today. Dave, you got to hold off on the beer because we gotta meet at the. So one of the fun things about a Cosmic Summit is you kind of get to party and hang out with people of like-mindedness and whatnot. And it starts early. Like Mike and I were down at the bar early on Friday, and it was already happening by 6 o'clock, right? But this year, and Dave was like, I don't know if it depends on how many beers I'm in if I'm going to the Pilot Mountain trip. But I think you should go because I think it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We're going to do the sunset solstice gathering on this is sacred ground for the native culture from the area. Talks from Randall Carlson. I don't know who Jim McKelvey is, but
Jim wrote the book, The Faces of Pilot Mountain, that George and Randall were talking about. We'll have to be on the lookout for that one and maybe snag a copy of that at the summit.
Nice, very cool. Yeah. And then they're gonna do a ceremony led by Cherokee wisdom keeper, Mr. Yona Frenchhawk. And so, there's George is back. Nice. Let him back in.
Yeah.
Pull him back. Mr. Howard.
Hi.
How's it going, man?
There he is.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, guys.
Hey.
How's it going? We were just going over all the. We just went through the Coffray press conference. We showed we showed the Atlantica premiere trailer. Talking about the vase room. You really hit a home run this year with all this interactive stuff, George.
Well, dudes, I just gotta say right off the bat, man, you literally can't thank guys like you enough. You have no idea, and that includes Dave Fitzpatrick, that thank you for being super fans. Okay, there are a lot of people that would watch this and go, what in the hell are these people talking about? Why are they so into it? How could people that aren't getting paid talk about it on their own time, on their own dime, and whatnot? It just shows that it's a thing. It's a thing that's valuable enough for everybody, including myself, to volunteer their time for.
Yes. Well, we really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
And obviously enjoy it too. But there are a lot of people that work on this stuff, like Beckett and Steph, that just rolled up with me. My God, I mean, they ain't getting paid.
Well, our behind the scenes gal, Brittany, who's not getting paid, has been talking to Steph a lot, and we found out that she really does a lot. Steph is really a superstar back there, huh?
No, she is, and that's what event planning is a nightmare. I'd always heard that, like growing up and when married and all that, and I always took them for a word. These are smart, capable, generally women who organize events, but I always saw at the back of my mind too. I was like, well, why is it so hard? I mean, I seriously had it, but it's like you get a room, you got a caterer, they're going to cook the food, you play some music. How hard could it be? But I trust them, and now I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get it. I get it. It's like bailing a boat all the way back to port. You can't stop bailing. There's not some point where you go, oh, okay, bailing's done. Now we can sail into port. You're just constantly, and you have to bail harder towards the end. So there are two things I hate: hard deadlines and people not showing up to a party. So I retire and immediately get into this business that involves a hard deadline and attendance anxiety. So I don't know what I'm doing. So you guys make it easier. You help justify it. You just help justify it for me personally. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You do an outstanding job, George. I'm not kidding. It's you've hit a vein here with what you're doing, I think, and it's pretty apparent. You go out on social media and you look at all the whether we're classified as pseudo archaeologists, armchair, researchers or whatever, but it's it's just a great. I mean, you're filling a niche, and you're doing it beautifully. So.
Well, thank you very much. Again, kind of team effort, but I'd obviously fooled around with this stuff longer than anyone, and eventually somebody would get to what I did, or a lot of people would. Where you just, I can't take it anymore. We got to get us all in a room, Because I've been watching it since the 90s, and obviously there wasn't a whole lot of chatter back then. But these subjects keep growing. It needed a home. It turns out the people that moved into the home are wonderful people. So it ended up a very happy home, the Cosmic Summit, right? And it has a good vibe to it. And people need to use 3 cams to come join in.
Yes.
I know y'all been pitching it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yep.
And we had a little glitch last night. The live stream sale thing went down. But that's $50. You don't get a lot of live streams for $50. You can't watch a damn boxing match for that. You can't watch any kind of corporate training video, or they're going to pay for it, whatever. It's just, that's a pretty good price. I wish it all gets back to marketing. But you get a lot for it. You get 45 hours of the presentations. Y'all have probably been through this, and you get the mobile camera. I did hear you mention that. And we're going to have fun with this cosmic news desk, and the people in the place aren't going to be feeling that. I just think it kind of lends itself to something that actually does work over an on-demand live stream. We have struggled with this. It's our fault. But just today, we finally, I hadn't even looked at the page, splashed it up at the top because there'd been plenty of justifiable confusion. That when you say the term live stream, it even suggests to me it's like something you could miss. Well, if the live stream's at 1:30 and I buy it, but I got to go over to grandma's till 5, I'm going to miss it. Well, that's not what it is. In that you pay that $50 and you'll have access to all 45 hours until CVent, the largest event company in the world, goes broke. Right? Can't guarantee past that. But it's an on-demand thing. So we changed the name last week. Now we splashed it all over the place, I think. But I started calling it on demand, and I think that's a better way to put it, because there's been a lot of marketing behind that term. Everybody knows what that means. Even if you're not technical, that means hit a button anytime and I'll watch it. And unfortunately, came across that little marketing idea in the last 10 days. But
I've seen you push. You've been pushing it pretty good, and we've been trying to push it for you as well. We just had a guy in the chat say he's trying to decide if it was worthwhile, and I think the way you explained it makes it sound worthwhile to me.
Oh, good, man. And this year's the difference this year too, and Dave recognizes this, I bet you guys too, but there's obviously something cool, and it works to have 27, 28 killer speakers both years, right? But they actually tell you in the event business, you want 3 big wows. So we had kicked around and 3 of them fell in our lap this year. And I kind of recognize, and you got 3 big reveals. You got to, you come, you see the speakers, but I know I'm also, here's 3 things that are going to be new to me and everybody in the room. And that's the Coffre reveal at 1:30, where Filippo and Armando are going to tell us more about what they see beneath the pyramids than they have to date. They're very excited to come to the summit. They're going to be coming with receipts. Okay,
that's on
God
Saturday?
knows. Yeah, that's Saturday at 1:30, right after lunch. And they're going to be introduced by their friend and a wonderful communicator, Jay Anderson of Project Unity, who has become a new friend of the summit, an absolutely invaluable team player. Love the guy, man. And we're going to do about an hour and a half of talking with them and hearing from them. Probably have an hour of back and forth with Jay and audience, and an hour of hard technical presentation. And interestingly enough, they presented, if people haven't seen it, they presented to a small symposium in Malta that they set up last week. Have y'all had a chance to see that wonderful video?
We all saw bits of it. Yeah.
So you have or haven't seen the video?
So we've all seen it to varying degrees. I've seen about half of it. Dave watched most
me
of
too.
it.
Me too. I'm like a 77%.
Yeah.
Or consumed it, like actually thought about it, probably heard the whole thing, but damn, I've been so busy. That's just like all of us. So you hope you eat the whole meal over a month, or a couple of weeks or whatever it is. But you saw the same thing I did. It's like, holy shit, man. That's one of the problems with watching that video. He's saying a lot. This is nothing he says in there is something you've heard before.
No, not yet.
Yeah, and you don't see that often in this business. Not that we're tired of hearing the old stories, but that's why it's a reveal. This is new, man, and nothing they said in Malta, and they're geared up for Greensboro, bigger than they were Malta. So that's 1:30 Saturday, and then that night we had another reveal, I guess, fall into our lap. Glad we took advantage of it, and that's Michael Donnellan and the preview of the documentary Atlantica. which, in my humble opinion, not the conference position, because wouldn't it be foolish if the conference took a hard position in anything, but I think the dude found Atlantis.
So have you seen it, George?
Yep.
Have you got it? You've seen this?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Knocked me over with a feather. I thought it was the best case. You know, that's bringing receipts, man. If you've got a circular city 5 miles off of Cadiz, and that's where you would have put it. And there's a little bit of, you know, I don't know. I like that it's not giant waves crashing across North Africa or, you know, huge island kingdom sinks, even though I think Randall could be damn right about the Azores. But I do not think, with all due respect, that that would have been the capital, because it was an empire, and the Azores don't rule the Med to this day, right? And if you're ruling the Med as a marine empire, you would do it from Cadiz, and it'd be about 60 feet underwater, and it would be circular, and it would have a temple in the center. And, you know, you're like, okay, that's too much. And I'll tell you another thing that would have been a problem. This is an interesting thing, and I hadn't thought it fully through, but it occurred to me that if he had gone out there and found that stuff and then found a 1972 report that so-and-so Jacques Cousteau had been out there and they'd found the, you know, the complex of Persepolis or something and thrown a name on it, right? And said it didn't bring up anything about Atlantis. You would have to go rebrand that archaeological site.
Yeah.
Even if it was just one or two papers or reports, if anybody had known about it and gone and called it one kind of thing that fit into archaeology, and everybody that knew about it said, okay, yeah, that's what that is off the coast, I think they'd have a bigger problem. But now just because that's the way things work, you got to unseat whatever it's supposed to be, right? And it could have been a dead match for Atlantis, but nobody wanted to say it in 67. And all of a sudden it got some other identification. But no, man, no one's ever found what he's found before. And that's because of a combination of real tough currents and real murky water because of the river that spills into there, which is actually a part of the story too. And
I'm pumped.
Yeah, absolutely. And Donald's a killer guy, man.
He's going to be there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to answer questions. He's going to be circulating all weekend. Yeah. And awesome. And then the third reveal, a little bit different nature, is revealing to the public for their, you know, actual touching, feeling, and handling the Egyptian vases, right?
Yeah.
We'll have more of those artifacts on hand than certainly been in North Carolina before. And that's all due to patron of that subject, Matt Bell, as a lot of people might know. So that's, you know, that's three things that are completely kind of, that's not just somebody coming and giving their talk. It's great. All three of them got a little bit of breaking news aspect to it.
And so it's very interactive compared to last year, right? I mean, you get to go, this day's room is going to be open all weekend?
3 hours Saturday and 3 hours Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we're not sure how it's going to play out. And certainly Matt's kind of in charge of how that'll work. But that also in there, you're going to have Carolee Polka and Adam Young. They are not bringing vases, but they're bringing the equipment, right? They're bringing the mobile scanning equipment. So you can kind of see the, you know, the laser targets on the things and all that kind of cool gee whiz stuff, right?
Wow.
Yeah, but that's two different teams, right? That's Adam Young's group and Matt's group, and to some extent they're collaborating there, just like the Carolina Bays guys are. Yeah, man, I'm pumped too. That's the word. In fact, I got to get a beer. Hold on just a second.
Yeah. So pumped. George is joined back onto the live stream because I'm sure he's got a lot to do tonight, tomorrow.
The Wi-Fi connection is nice and strong. We had a good connection.
Actually, you know what it is, I think? And usually you don't see this stuff necessarily affect one building and where you went. I know Dave said it sucked last year and it definitely sucked at the bottom. You kind of get that feeling, hey, is this building, because it's the tallest building in the town, is this blocking the cell? But it wouldn't in New York, you know, I guess it could. But you get up the 28th floor and I didn't even go on Wi-Fi. I tried you to call you, see how it would be, because it's had 5 bars 5G. And I said, well, sometimes that shit actually works.
Right.
And and it's clear as a bell, at least as far as I can tell. So
Oh, it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful up here. I mean, look, if you get 900 hotel rooms, you get a suite, right? So
nice.
Well, 900
Perfect.
hotel room nights. But boy, look, this is a big one, man.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous
Same room
hotel.
I stayed in last
conference
year.
room.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's a people's hotel. I mean, it ain't no fancy hotel, but it's got a lot of room in it. The suites and the rooms,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We had been remembering
That's what
last
you
year.
get more. That's why we hold it in. And people, obviously wonder, why the hell don't you hold it in, Washington, D.C. or Orlando or whatever. And Orlando, actually, you can make a good case, but it's hard to get $179 hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you go do that in Charlotte. If I went to Charlotte or Raleigh, they'd be $270. And, yeah. So I don't think we're not here to impress each other with our dress. You know what I mean? I mean, this is not like, let's try to get fancy together at the hotel. This is a damn, people's conference. We're having it in a people's city.
I almost bought an. Go ahead, Mike.
There was either a big wedding or family reunion or something that was on the fancier side, one of the events, but there was also like a big soccer tournament in town with a whole bunch of kids. It was like super casual, and we were right there in the mix in between those two things. So,
yeah, and I hope it doesn't spook people, but it is full. This is the biggest hotel in North Carolina is full this weekend. And well, there's this crazy doll convention.
Doll convention?
Oh yeah, get this. What do they call it? It's people who care for lifelike baby dolls, like that look like real babies.
Wow.
This is why you got to tune into the exclusive Cosmic Summer preview on the Multiverse.
There you go.
We had no idea.
There you go.
This is
You heard it here first. That's right. Well, now it's just a fact. You didn't want to scare people off. Now everybody's already coming,
There's going to be Cosmic people sneaking off to look at their presentations. Just to see what's going on.
Well, their thing turned out to be, it's not a presentation thing. It's more of a trading and showing off thing.
Wow.
So their person contacted us and said some of our people may want to come over your way. So we gave them a special code, but we had one rule. Can you guess what the rule is? No baby dolls. Don't bring your creepy baby doll. I mean, I'm sure it's cool. I can't wait to see them, but I don't want every 10th person in the audience to have on their lap a lifelike baby. That'd be weird.
I appreciate that rule, George. I'm glad that you did that because those things actually really creep me out. So
And in their defense, I haven't, like a lot of things lately, I hadn't done a deep dive on it, but apparently some of it's justified. It's people that lost children.
Okay.
Right. And so there's a big component. I don't know if it's a component or whatnot. Or maybe that's the whole thing, but I don't think so. But it's people who lost a child, and that's a thing. Some people get a dog. Dogs are hard to take care of. Maybe you get a.
Oh shoot. We're pyramid, so we're not here to judge nobody. Everybody's free to have.
You damn right. Isn't that true? That was just going through my head. That's right. I mean, that's an easy thing to make fun of, and so are we. So fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
Rock on, baby doll people.
Let's go. And welcome to the party, right?
Part of Multiverse.
George, I just found out today about this new Comet Research Group paper that Mark is going to be presenting on. I just was listening to you guys talk about that. So that's going to be Mark's presentation about this new 12,800 shallow airburst depression in Louisiana.
Yeah, man, which is it's a big damn deal.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's a big deal. That's why I kind of asked Mark to address it. Right. But under other circumstances, I don't know, could have made it a centerpiece of the whole conference, but it just popped up 2 weeks ago. Actually, it didn't. I mean, I knew it's been coming for 13 years. And they might have hustled out at the end, just because there's more attention on this stuff. I don't know. And I'm not on the paper. But the guy who found it, I was the first person he contacted. Yeah, and he and damn it, they had kind of, Alan West had forgotten that, or I'd be on the paper. I said, Alan, you remember that guy got in touch with me? And then I handed him over to you, which is enough to get on a paper. But that's fine. I have, been on more than blessed with academic publishing that I probably didn't deserve. But so they published this paper. The guy got in touch with me in 2013. I happened to be doing a lot of business in Louisiana. I was going down there damn near, well, certainly once every 2 weeks. And so it was funny to hear from a Louisiana. He said, well, my dad and I've been finding these crazy looking melt rocks in the depression pond behind the house. And it looks just like the stuff we've looked up, and giant versions of some of the stuff y'all find. It's got little balls in it. And, these are smart guys. They were country boys, but everybody down there is, but they were engineers, petroleum engineers, work at refineries and stuff. They're smart men. And they said, this ain't a normal rock. And actually, there's not a lot of rock around there. And I want to look into that point. I mean, Louisiana, not full of rocks. So I wonder whether that's the first thing. Okay, so this guy gets in touch with me, and I ran it past Alan. They didn't have the bandwidth. Somehow he learned, we can't do anything right now. And then he circled back a couple of years later, if I got it right, hooked up with him. And that was like 10 years ago. So it takes a long time. And see, that's a great case, because a lot of stuff comes out of the transom. In the last 20 years, I've had, hundreds of emails. A couple of hundred. I don't like people that exaggerate things like that, but probably a couple of hundred over 2 decades, where people are saying, I've got this or that in my backyard, right? Credible ones. And with this one I'm talking about, where you kind of wanted to follow up. But what do? The Little Old Comet Research Group, it can work on 1 or 2 of those things at a given time. So if you're trying to get them published, right? If your point was to just go check it out and put it on a list, that might be a different thing. But and this one caught their eye, and it made it all the way through. And it is a blockbuster, man, because it means, just as we said, that a big part of what happened was hypersonic plumes of hell incinerating a small area and bringing devastation to a larger area, not just incinerating, completely vaporizing. And just very, very similar to the kind of effect that you would have with a nuclear bomb, minus the radiation. Now think, if you go set off a nuclear bomb right out here, over here, about 28 floors, and somebody set off a nuclear bomb out there in that landscape, would you know in 100 years if there were no radiation? Hell no. What would you find? Some weird looking green melt glass.
Right.
And after that gets under a few feet of topsoil and whatnot, as 1,000 years or whatever, it's just not something that, unless you're really looking for it. And that's why we've missed these things. So, there's Meteor Crater out there in Arizona, and then now there are 250 more, and a big bitch session over just the first one. And now there are bitch sessions on all these other places. And what there's a whole family of stuff we hadn't even gotten to, where there are places I talked to Alan about the other day. They got about 5 good ones now in the United States.
Wow.
There's one in, I don't know if I want to misspeak, but definitely one in Minnesota. Where did he say? One in like Nebraska. So when I want to come up with a catchy name for these things, like touchdown plumes.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because what it is, it's like shooting stars, same little thing you see up there. That's a plume of plasma. That's fucking hotter than balls, but it's a little piece of sand. If you get that same thing, but then they're pointed correctly, they make it all the way down, and there's going to be some material. There was some ET material mixed in the samples. They can't draw it out. They can infer it, because everything is vaporized, mixed, and reconglomerated, right? And some of that stuff has signatures that suggest there's some very weird stuff from space in it, but the vast majority of it's going to be whatever in the hell kind of topsoil, sand, whatever hit, and you end up with a Libyan desert glass type stuff laying around 13,000 years later. It's all broken up, But there should be an ongoing search for these locations throughout the world, because there are probably several thousand of them.
Yeah. Mark does a great job of presenting as well. I mean, he was there the first year, and great presentation. So
he does, Dave, and he's getting even better, man. He's very credible. He's no showman. You can tell he's a sincere, thinking scientist that also is a good communicator in his own way. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he got this assignment on short notice too.
Yeah, he did. He did, and I'm glad he took it because I don't try to exert much editorial control, but in this case, I encouraged him to. And yeah. So that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to Danny Hillman.
Yeah. We got to talk to him. He was an awesome guy to talk to. And,
he is a very nice man, isn't he?
Yeah, we look forward to meeting him in person. And his episode of Cosmic Monday actually did really well. So he's a big deal in Indonesia. We got a bunch of interaction with people who know him very well.
I never had him on, man.
Yeah,
I never had him on. I tell you, it's tough to do. You got to do it. It's exactly 24 hours or whatever it is, 12. What is it?
It was 8. We had to talk to him at 8 a.m.
Yeah, you got to do it. Well, see, that's not my thing.
Still a little waking up. No,
That's probably why I didn't do it. I mean, isn't that sorry? Just because I'm a damn lazy ass late sleeper, I didn't interview probably one of the coolest. Now, I did talk to him at great length.
Yeah.
And when we were inviting him, I was like, holy cow, this guy is a really, really nice gentleman.
He is, and he's talking about something. He's live and hands-on at one of the most enigmatic places and debated places on Earth right now. So we get to hear the updated science at Gunung Padang right from the horse's mouth, which is super exciting.
Yeah, and he's also been terribly suppressed. It's a classic case of suppression. And some people that are suppressed could be blowhards, and you can see how they shouldn't be suppressed, but you can see how they piss their colleagues off or something like that, right? But this guy's so nice. You're like, what a terrible personality. He's such a completely sincere scientist. To know that he can't conduct his investigation because the government doesn't want him to, and shut it down. I mean, that's awful. I don't want to over talk and get him in trouble, but.
Somebody commented on our video and said we should interview the minister of I forget what they call it, but the government agency in charge of that. And I was like, maybe Brittany can email him. Brittany's gotten pretty lucky emailing people, so maybe we can get that guy on the show and see why are we shutting Danny Hillman down?
Because 8 a.m. Eastern.
Another 8 a.m. interview.
Yeah.
This lineup is outstanding, George. Do you have any idea what Praveen is going to be talking about this year? Because he's one of my favorite presenters. And,
I know it's going to be more general.
Okay.
He felt last year, I think, because he'd done a lot of videos, that that said I signaled anything. I'd have to go back and look, but I know it's more general.
Okay. Last year was like ancient medical talk. Yeah,
which is a little narrow. And then Randall, I wanted kind of him, or was hoping he would expand out. And then Randall tried to focus more, like not give the 101 or even the 201. Give us some 300.
Randall released some cool videos on the moon lately. One on his channel, I think one on Project Unity. That was pretty good. Or it might have been Jesse Michaels. It was Jesse Michaels, I think.
Yeah, Jesse apparently almost came this year. Damn it.
We did cheat on you, George. We went to Contact in the Desert a few weeks ago.
Oh I know you did.
We got to meet. We got to see Jesse. But I'm telling you, Contact in the Desert was fun, but Cosmic Summit's definitely more my jam. That's the whole weekend. I was thinking, I like this. I'm into the UAP thing, but. The Cosmic Summit's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. And anybody that's brave enough to put on a physical event like this is my brother, so not my competitor or my adversary.
Yeah.
And I need to. The APAC conference. They reached out to me, and I should have. I don't know. There are always things to do. There are other collaborations to be made. The problem is these conferences pop up and close down, and I know why now.
Because it's a lot of work and it's expensive. And,
it's very hard to make money, and I haven't yet. So,
we appreciate you.
Yeah,
for sure.
We appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put that vibe out. It's more, I don't know that I don't, because you get accused of being called a grifter sometimes, right? And people bitch about the ticket prices. There are a whole bunch of reasons. So when you're a guy, when you're a promoter losing money, putting on the events, you kind of, you just want to say, hey, no, I'm losing money. We'll leave it at that. that would eliminate the grifter talk, and I hope it would eliminate the ticket costs is too high. Because what do you want me to lose some more money? I mean, what's there's another science. It's called economics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you got to have certain inputs and outputs. And right now, this one's a little whack to my detriment.
Well, those of us who know what we're going to have no problem paying that price, because the Moai tickets that we got there's so much that comes along with it. And another big thing that I wanted to mention about this is when you get the food package, it goes a long way, okay? Because over at Contact in the Desert, we were looking at paying $500 or something for their food package, just for the food for the weekend. Wow. Yes, correct. And it would have been almost $600 for both Mike and I for just the food package, and it was 2 meals a day. So I feel like that's another selling point, because
I should do more invest. I don't know what I would do with it. What, go and trash them and stuff? I should know that, just in general. But that it's not surprising knowing the economics of things. But that's all included. You get 6 meals at this thing. It's home cooked,
and it's good food too.
Yeah, it is good food. Yeah, it's not rubber chicken stuff. It's just good Southern cooking.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? I'm going to have to take off here in a minute. You got any kind of big questions? I got to start gearing up.
No worries, George. We really appreciate you taking the time. We know you just got a lot going on and a lot to do. I don't know, man. My biggest question is what's the thing you're looking forward to the most? What's George, the promoter of Cosmic Summit, looking forward to the most?
Finding out what the fuck the deal is with the pyramids, where the fuck Atlantis is, and what the fuck those vases are all about.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you ain't going to get any close to those 3 subjects in the Cosmic Summit this weekend. So use 3 cams so that you were there when the most important archaeological revelation in history until they go do the next conference, presumably, will be made. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, and then Atlantis, maybe not. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think the dude found it. So come see it revealed first. That's kind of, got a nice vibe to it. And just being in the presence of Matt's wonderful vases is something that you're not going to get anywhere else, no matter whatever conference you go to, unless he starts going on the road with them, What a nice thing for him to do.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is with Matt, huh?
Yeah.
I tell you, those well-resourced individuals like himself are very important to this. And I ain't anything like he is, but I think there's a future in taking people that got the resources to do whatever they can do to help. Like one of those 2 or 3 of those vases take care of a summit or 2, right? But everybody's got whatever, it's good. And then there are other ones out there. The other people that there's a gentleman gave the Comet Research Group $3 million.
What? Wow.
He's tossing some money in on this thing too. When I reached out to him and said it might not be profitable, and he picked up a cost for me. And there are people out there, and that's a really cool thing, man. And what I think of it, and this isn't Matt, because he's no California wheeler dealer techno businessman. You know what I mean? Which you think of rich guys these days. He is old fashioned. Damn. Thinking that, as I told him when I went down and went on his podcast in Sarasota, I said, dude, you're in the hardest business in America. You want to be in physical retail over the last 30 years?
Right.
I mean, how the hell? Who survived that intact? How in the hell can a family department store not only survive but thrive? And I heard has no debt. Wow. And they got 1,000 stores, and they're in the Kohl's category. Point is, whatever. So he different kind of guy. But then there are these guys seem to be in California where they're putting $10 million here, $20 million there into business investments. And I think they're willing to put $2 million here, $3 million there in a limited number of intellectual investments.
I think that's huge, you know, and you mentioned how important guys like Dave Fitzpatrick and us on the small end doing our grabbing an oar, as you say, all the way to the top, right?
Exactly. It's a fractal thing. Everybody's got something they can give, even if it's just coming, or even if it's just buying that damn live stream. You know, I hate to say it, but I mean, it's kind of a Patreon thing, for God's sakes.
Right?
I need help. Oh Lord. Hey guys, you know, I hate to say this to men, but I love you.
Love you too, dude.
We love you too, George.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
All three of you. I can't wait to give you a big bear hug.
Yes, sir. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
It's all love at the Cosmic Summit. That's the best part. Is there's just
That's right.
You know,
It's got a vibe to it. Okay, I'll close with this. This year I brought
more tusks.
Yeah. Well, I brought the travel tusk and more props. Right. So I got the travel tusk with its little holder, and I got the big meteorite and the small meteorite. So I'm thinking of putting this like up on the podium. You know, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. It should be
so I just want to throw
the centerpiece.
Sitting here looking at them, I go unpacking this stuff. Okay, listen. I hope to see you soon. When are y'all coming to town?
We'll all be in around 2:00
early Friday.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Dave, when are you going to be here?
I'll be there same early Friday, 1 to 2 range, probably somewhere in there.
Okay. Have you three made buddies?
You know what? It's so no.
We've all made
I've not.
buddies, but
Yeah, I didn't meet them last year, but
we were there.
For
but
sure
we didn't
meet this
each
year.
other.
Yeah,
we actually met on X, but he
did you? Okay, right.
Dave met a Mike in the first year, and then Mike met a Dave in the second year. So there's 2 Mike and Daves. We're hoping a third set of Mike and Daves gets met in this. Yes.
How do you know it wouldn't be a Dave and Mike?
It's true.
Well, it was mainly like we were coming up with a name for the show. It was either going to rhyme or be alliterative. If we had done Dave and Mike's Dimension or something, but it was Mike and Dave's Multiverse, we're going to be something like that.
Just random.
But when I said y'all are buddies, you know, I consider digital buddies. In fact, that's the first thing. If you actually know somebody physically, you're in a relationship. That's what we all got. You know, and that's a big part of this. What it is get together. I mean, I wish it. The little things they got. Now I'm in the 3rd year of things I didn't do. I wished I did each year, which is really dumb. I mean, you're not supposed to, you know. But I think you should have your handle on your badge. Like I'm telling you, it really confuses me. Like Dave is a great example. Great Awakening. And in fact, he is the example I use. And I can't see him on the thing. Dave's still in here, right?
He is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see him on this landscape. And no, Dave, remember when I reached out to you? I said, "What is your name?"
You know, and I am so glad you did that because you just don't think. I mean, it's like, why don't I have my name out there? So
you sat back. I DM'd you, and for some reason, it's more like because I knew you'd been on tours, and I figured I'd met you otherwise, and I had. I knew of your real name. Right, that's the problem. You know the digital name, and you might know and could well know the other name, but you don't put them together. But Dave, I reached out to him. I said, "Who the hell are you, brother?" And he said, "It's Dave Fitzpatrick." I'm not anonymous. I said, "It's Dave Fitzpatrick." And I said, "Well, why are you anonymous?" He said, "I'm not anonymous." I said, "Yes, you are." And he went and read his bio and said, "Oh, I am." Right, Dave? Am I telling it right?
No, that's a great suggestion. I got to tell you.
Yeah, and then he changed it immediately and added, kept Great Awakening. It's cool to have a handle.
Yeah.
But I think in what happened, and then I think we chatted more about it. What happened was when everybody got on a lot of these platforms, you come in anonymous for good reason. I ain't used to it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you kind of forget the rationale for that's no longer there. In fact, it deserves to have your name, Dave, because you say a lot of interesting things. That don't need to be anonymized. You're contributing, and everybody that's contributing should have their name out there.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, Dave needs a T-shirt. Like Mike and Dave made T-shirts for the event, so everyone will know. Everyone will know who we are, at least on one of the days.
That's great, guys. I want one. Okay, I'll trade you.
Perfect. We'll get you one for sure.
Okay, well, I'm going to drop out now. You know how much I'm looking forward to seeing you and how much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining the show, George. We really appreciate it.
Good seeing you, George.
Okay, over and out. See you soon.
We'll see you.
Well, we look forward to meeting our digital friend Tyrone in person too. We've had Tyrone on the show a few times, and we'll be meeting up there. What's up, Tyrone? Thanks for watching tonight.
If Tyrone wants to jump in, actually, why don't we just bring him in? I'll send him Brittany, can you send Tyrone a link to this? See if he wants to jump in. I know he's watching us every week. We're going to be driving up to Pilot. So when Dave, when you suggested we ride up to Pilot Mountain with you, Tyrone's the guy we're going to be riding. Do you know him? Rebirth of the Word.
I don't know if I do or not.
Follow him on X, Rebirth of the Word. Anybody who's listening, and if you don't know Tyrone, follow him on Rebirth of the Word. But yeah, man, George Howard just graced us with his presence. That was super cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we can keep going through the speakers a little bit.
Let's scroll through the schedule a little more. We've hit the big highlights now, the big 3 key highlights, the draws for the concert, so to speak.
Yeah, so let me pull up the calendar. We can go through who are we looking forward to the most? Maybe your top 2 or 3.
Yeah. I think I actually haven't looked at the schedule since it's been updated. I know we showed the speaker list several times on the show, but it may have also been before it was fully updated.
Yeah, I don't have the calendar map available, but I think I might be able to find it, but I just don't want to go scrolling around too much. Yeah. I'll go first. I'm a big fan of Praveen Mohan, and I think that first of all, he has like 3 million subscribers on YouTube or something, but because he's from India, most of them are from India. But the shit he has shown me in India, like the Kailasa temple complex and things but that's just one thing that's just a complete mind blower. To me, it's the hardest feat of ancient engineering in the world, and I will go on record saying that. But there's a bunch of things in India that he covers that will just totally blow your mind. Some of these structures literally look like they're a transformer about to go and turn into a robot and walk off. They look like machines, but they're temples, and the carvings are so intricate. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to talk about this week. What about you guys?
Mike, you going?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll scroll through.
Yeah, let's do a slow scroll.
I can't pick one individual. Every one of these. I'm not kidding. I'm
checking out Tim Hogan of the Knights Templar info. He's done some good podcasts. Recently.
Yeah. Tim Hogan, same. I'm looking forward to meeting Dan Richards. I've gone back and forth with him on X and.
Yeah, he responded to me on X for the first time today. I was like, woohoo! Or yesterday, I think. Yeah. I wonder what he's going to be presenting. The title is something about. It's something to do with discourse within the space and how people argue and whatnot.
I'll tell you what, because he really, he's taken a lot of these professionals to task.
Yeah.
He does not stand down. And I think both him and Jimmy, actually, that is their and boy, it's so funny to watch and they seem to be more on the left. I'm talking the professional archaeologists that have a real beef with what they're doing, but he's exposing what they're up to. Mm-hmm. So, and he's doing it good.
Yeah, he does, and Jimmy does. They have fun with it. They're a little more aggressive than I am, but somebody's got to do it, because there's people who are very aggressive from the other side of the coin, right?
Right.
And so, I'm
also looking forward to an update from Bob Grenier from the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. This is the cold fusion technology that Malcolm Bindle was showing last year. Bob Grenier sort of considering that, and that's going to be linked, I think, with what Ashton Forbes is talking about.
Is Ashton presenting?
He should be down there on the list. He was.
I think he might be.
I think he is too. I'm going to stay here for a second because I just wanted to mention that one more time, Mark Young is presenting a brand new paper that's more evidence solidifying Younger Dryas airburst. And so that got me really excited, because the more evidence we can pile up for that. The the less denying mainstream can do. Another one, and shout out to Catherine Ulysses, Robert Bloch's wife. She's going to be presenting for the first time at one of these conferences, and I would really encourage everyone to go see her because she's a really wonderful, sweet lady, and she made an actual contribution. This is not her field, but she made a contribution to Robert's book, and you're going to hear about it during her presentation, and we should all go and support her at her presentation.
And she also put out a children's book.
Yes.
Really well done. Yeah, I'm anxious to speak with her.
Before you go past, we also had Chris Cottrell on the show. Chris and Antonio Zamora are going to be co-presenting.
Oh, yeah. Antonio, I love his videos on the Carolina Bays stuff. He does a great job of digging into that.
These two are debating it, Mike? Is that what's happening?
Co-presenting. They're co-presenting.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. Because I was under the impression that Chris wasn't doing like a full-on speech himself this year, even though he did the last 2 years. He's bringing his family, so he's gonna be like kind of in and out, from what I understand.
Hey, Tyrone just hopped in. If you're ready, I'll pop you in, Tyrone.
Yeah, pop him in.
What's up?
Where we at?
You're muted right now.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah.
Hey, how y'all doing? You
been watching?
Good.
Oh, man, I'm always watching you guys. You already know that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. What'd you think of George?
Man, I thought it was awesome, man. I think he's right a lot about a lot of the stuff that he talked about, especially about Atlantis and stuff like that. I'm doing a lot of research into that now, just so I can get more updated on it when I get there.
Cool. You're definitely going to go to that movie premiere then, right?
I'm going to try to go to everything that I possibly can. I'm going to stay there. I'm going to roll with you guys. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to have that trip a while ago, and I'm going to be on y'all hips, basically.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Looking forward to it. You're going to basically be driving up there at the exact same time as us.
Yep.
But it would make no sense for you to come to us because it would add 2 hours to your drive. But we're basically going to be meeting there around 1 or 2 o'clock. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm probably going to leave here about 7 o'clock, 6 or 7. I'm probably not going to sleep, so I'm probably going to be up the whole time.
You're not staying at the hotel, are you? That was sold out.
Yeah, I'm not staying there. I got a hotel, I think it's like a 6 or 7 minute walk from there, I guess.
Oh, that ain't bad. Yeah, okay. You don't even have to drive then. That's good. Was there a certain speaker you were looking forward to seeing the most, Tyrone?
Honestly, I want to see them all, but I do want to run into Dr. Robert Schoch because I've talked a lot about his work in the past. I have a lot of questions from him from my research. I do want to see Dan Richards because he's very informative on a lot of stuff over there. Everybody there, Randall Carson, I follow them. Scott Walter, if Scott Walter is big over there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody. Then Filippo Bionde, I guess I don't know how to say his name correctly, but he actually has a book about his findings under the pyramids, but it's only in the language of theirs. And I was hoping to see if he could get it translated to English, because you guys know me, I like to read books. I talked about it in the past before already.
Yeah.
We need to get that Metatron Italian translation going.
Yeah. Ashton Forbes is going to be an interesting one because he's not really in this realm of. I guess you could tie it there, but what's his thing, Mike?
It's the orbs with the plane that disappeared over Malaysia in 2014. Yeah. And his idea is that we have the technology to basically transport an object, in that case, that plane with the folks, from one place to another. That's his theory anyway.
I feel like I got to go see that one. It just depends on who else is presenting at that time. But he's going to be a bit of an enigma. We saw him kind of in and out at Contact in the Desert, didn't we, Mike?
Yep, he was an attendee like us. Went to a couple of the presentations. I'm not really sure how long or late he stayed, but we did spot him there. It was good to see him.
He was there last year, but I don't think he didn't speak last year.
He was at Cosmic Summit last year?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Interesting. One thing I wanted to mention is Michael Collins, unfortunately, is not going to be able to make it. The Wandering Wolf.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. We say a prayer, whatever it is that you do for his old friend. His dog is not feeling too well, and he didn't feel comfortable leaving him for the weekend. And I was actually, to be fair, he's one of the people I was looking forward to meeting in person the most. But obviously, like, family first, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had actually, so on the topic of MH370, we had Miss Darlene, Cosmic Librarian, on the show a while back.
Yeah.
One of our Humans of the Multiverse interviews. And I'm always saving all these data points and trying to find ways to connect them. So Ashton's case is that we have technology, and there were people trying to slip over to China with technology secrets, so they took the plane back. And unfortunate for the other passengers that were involved. Miss Darlene described, she didn't name it as a remote viewing protocol, but she described using, I guess, whatever protocol she has, praying, meditating. And she seemed very certain that that the plane had not crashed. Her description of what she was able to detect was that those people were trapped. They were trapped somewhere and couldn't get out, which to me corroborates the footage that Ashton is bringing up. To me, those two data points coincide. They can have a common explanation.
Yeah, and as far as I understand, she doesn't know anything about Ashton Forbes or what he does. That is interesting. Have you been following any of that, Tyrone? The MH370 and Ashton?
Oh yeah, definitely. Matter of fact, one of my favorite shows that I keep telling people to watch is the show Manifest. Okay. Now the show
I seen that. I seen that show. Yeah.
Yeah, that show right there is literally what is the idea of MH370. The plane disappeared somewhere, went somewhere, and then a few years later they came back and they were much older and stuff like that. And it tells a little story about them having like some supernatural powers and abilities to communicate with one another and stuff like that. So yeah, that's I'm very into that stuff. And you guys know about my orb on my camera. I caught some orbs on my camera that I can't explain.
Yeah. And Brittany's brother-in-law showed some orbs on our show last week too. I've never seen an orb. I want to see an orb. Dave, you ever seen an orb?
No, I have not, but I know that there are. Yeah, I think everybody knows someone that has.
Yeah.
Not in person.
So this is going to be Tyrone's first time at Cosmic Summit. Here's the thing. We want to go to Pilot Mountain, but we got to get back for the party, because the party pops off, doesn't it, Dave? It's like, it gets fun.
Yeah.
And
that's why I'm driving up there. That's why, because when I was buying my ticket, it said you could take the bus or you can drive up there. So I want to drive up there, and then when it's time to go, I want to be able to get back, get ready, and go to the after party.
Because there's going to be some people who start the party like at 6 and they don't even go to the Pilot Mountain thing. But I think the Pilot Mountain thing's something you shouldn't miss out on. It seems like a once in a lifetime thing. I'm never going to be up there at that time ever again. So, but I feel like it's a good way to ceremonialize, if that's a word, the beginning of the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, parties don't really start until after midnight anyway.
It's true, but last year people were getting down at 6. I came back down from my hotel. It's about 7. It was a big crowd of people already partying, drinking. I don't even think they opened the disco room until 9, maybe.
Yeah,
something I can't remember.
Yeah. And then there's George in there with his Saturday Night Fever suit on.
Full-blown disco suit.
Yeah, hilarious. He was in it.
It's wild because if you get there early, you might see some people that like you don't get to see too often at the event. Like last year, we saw Danny Jones, and I didn't see it. I might have seen him one more time for like a half a second after that, but we got to get a picture with him. We saw Praveen Mohan in there. You didn't see Praveen or Danny walking around too much during the event. So, but you do see them kind of pop in to these parties. So, it's something I definitely don't want to miss. But when is sunset in Greensboro, North Carolina, because we might be getting back a little late. It's about a half-hour drive, and then you got to walk up to the top, I think, as well.
We'll be there about this time in 48
Bro,
hours.
it don't get dark down here till, here in Georgia, it don't get dark till at least 9 o'clock. So I'm staying around about the same time frame.
So we'll be up there. They'll do their ceremony. Randall's going to talk, and that other guy. The sunset will happen with the pyramid, and then Brittany just looked it up. 8:39 sunset on Friday. Brittany's on the ball, man. Everyone, thank you so much for Brittany. She's the best producer in the game. Just no one knows it yet. So that sunset's going to happen. We're all going to go, wow, and then talk about it for a minute, I guess. But then everyone's going to be beelining into their cars or to the bus so we can actually, we got to walk down the hill to the parking lot and then get in our cars and drive back. So it might be 10:30, I think, before we get back. But that's okay.
How far is it from the actual hotel and stuff?
I don't know, but I bet Brittany's looking it up right now.
I think it's like a 30 to 40-minute drive.
Okay.
Each way.
Yeah, because I believe that's why they did offer the van in case someone didn't want to call that themselves.
Nice.
It would be fun either way.
Yeah, I think so. There is something that Dave posted a few weeks ago from Space Weather News that I was planning on playing tonight. Anyway, if George didn't show up, it's the Disaster Cycle trailer. Have you?
Yeah.
Is this movie out? When does this come out? Do you know, Dave?
I believe it's later this year.
Okay.
Ben Davidson is the one. Sun Man is what he
Yes.
goes by there on X. But yeah, he's the one that's behind that whole thing. But it looks really well done.
This guy, it does. I haven't seen this yet. This is a reveal for me, but he seems like a type of guy who should be at Cosmic Summit. Don't you guys think?
I tell you, and I don't know if George, I believe, to Matt's podcasts.
Matt Bell?
And it is a matter of trying to get him scheduled in there. But
I heard that. I heard that too. I saw Matt post something about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's check it out. 2 minutes 51 seconds. Go.
Hitting Earth could produce northern lights in the U.S. this weekend. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration issued a rare severe geomagnetic storm warning.
In the recent decades, the position of the magnetic poles has been moving very rapidly.
It might not be something you usually think about when we talk about severe weather, but it has the capability to disrupt our society. I'm talking about space weather.
When you look at the sun and you look at the Earth, the magnetic field of the sun has a dramatic effect on the Earth, even though it's 93 million miles away.
We're due for a change, a swap of the magnetic polarity of the Earth. And during that process, it's been suggested that the electromagnetic field around Earth could weaken.
Who is aware that the North Pole is shifting over time?
You look at the electromagnetic field around Earth that is getting weaker and weaker. It looks like we've got 15, maybe 25 years.
Here's what we know. About every 6,000 years, there is a geomagnetic change on our planet. Every other cycle, or every 12,000 years, it's really, really bad.
The Northern Lights were a sight to see over Florida.
When you start seeing auroras down in Florida, okay, we got a problem.
Everybody who could possibly be in the know is acting like they know exactly what's coming.
What do they know that we don't know, right? I mean, they're building these underground Is this just the natural human nature towards thinking that these are the end times?
Finally tonight, Branson versus Bezos. Who will be first to make it into space?
You do have a bunker there. Is there something you know that we don't?
No, I think that's just like a little shelter under.
It's a little shelter. What are you worried about?
The disaster is the
Mark Zuckerberg's
destruction of what we call civilization.
For sure.
When it does go off, you're talking about 5,000 degrees Kelvin right here on the surface.
Everybody subconsciously knew something was about to happen. And I think that that's sort of where this great awakening is coming from. When this thing really gets going, it's speeding up to 100 times faster than how much it's moving now. 5% per decade, 5% per year, to 5% every couple of weeks.
At
at that point, you only have a couple of months left.
That scares the shit out of me, you guys.
You can count on Ben to tell you it's going to be the end of the world. He typically says between 20 to 40 years out. So you know what you're dealing with. I still watch the show from time to time. I know what I'm dealing with. It's good stuff. It's good info.
Yeah, well, better start prepping.
Got to start doing something.
These Heinrich events, so they can tell that every so often in the Atlantic that the icebergs move, glaciers are moving around, and then they can tell by the deposits and the sediment up there. From time to time, big shifts do happen.
Yeah. I just that one scares me the most. That one, because that there's the data's there. Just no one wants to look at it. Ben Davis is shouting that out from the rooftops, but it's not something I like in the back of my mind. You know what I'm saying? When I'm playing on my day.
Unfortunately, there's a lot more data that keeps coming in and sort of support of this idea, but I don't know. We'll see. It does make you wonder, all these folks that have got these bunkers they're building. And then you also look back and look at the Darien-ku and there's cave systems that have been around for tens of thousands of years, and
Darien-ku is a good example. I wonder how old that is, and if it coincides with like that disaster cycle or one of the disaster cycles.
Right.
The ant people, let's think about them. They was in the ground. Why were they in the ground? What reason that put them there? We got the tectonic plates moving, we got the North Pole moving, we got all kinds of stuff going on.
It seems like the ground is the least safe place to, or on top of the ground is the least safe place to be. Just ask the dinosaurs, right?
Oxygen levels changing, all that's playing a part to it.
That's why them UAP civilization lives under the water, probably, right?
Hey, I talk about, man, don't get me started. I always talk about that. The Anuna/Anunnaki coming from the depths of the seas, because that's what their cuneiform tablets actually say, and that's from the actual text. So it makes you think where these USOs are really coming from.
Well, they always seem to hang out on the coast.
On the coast.
Yep. And we have video of them going into the water. So
could you catch what George was saying was the coast of the Atlantica trailer? I think he named it a couple times, but I was running through my geography. I didn't know what he was referring to.
I didn't either. Hopefully somebody, because I think he said a few things he wasn't supposed to say. Brittany's saying it's off the coast of Spain, and she also said it's a 48-minute drive to and back from Pilot Mountain. So that's intense. I mean, that you may miss half the party. People are going to be hammered by the time we get there. It's true. Off the coast of Cadiz, is that how you say that?
Cadiz, that is it.
Yeah.
Tyrone's on his map right now. Go back and look at that trailer again, Tyrone. You need to see. We need to Google Earth that. We're gonna find out this week. Well, I hope this thing doesn't leave us with a cliffhanger, because, like I said, it said a series. So I'm betting they're like, and we found Atlantis. Tune in, watch our Netflix series or some shit. No,
Reminds me of Oak Island.
Yes, just keeps you hanging every week, right?
George just fed us a bunch of bullshit. It's really not Cadiz. Everybody took notes, and they're out there right now looking it up.
I wanted to ask George how Malcolm Bendall is doing. I mean, regardless of what he thought of his car, his engine, I hope he's doing all right. He was a cool guy. It was a fascinating topic.
Yeah, that's sort of all gone quiet.
Yeah. Maybe Bob Jr. will be able to give us an update, I think. Because I think what really is going on there is there's a lot of independent, separate inventors that are coming across the same type of technology, and things like that Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project is sort of an umbrella that they can all go and share info about.
Man, in exactly 24 hours, we'll have watched, or 48 hours, we'll have watched the sunset on top of Pilot Mountain, all four of us, hopefully. and then head down to the party to start a ballin' ass weekend of ancient history and ancient lost tech, all the biggest names. I'm pumped.
Same here.
I'm actually excited to see you, Dave, because I follow some of your work, and it's very interesting about some of the stuff you have. I see that you have a mask behind you, and I'm very familiar with masks from around the world. Yes, I'm very familiar with masks around the world, from Mesoamerica to Mesopotamia, Africa. Even the Aboriginals. It's so amazing how everybody has their own idea. So I'm definitely excited to see you about that stuff, because I know you talk about that sometimes too.
Yeah. Do you have like a shop of some sort? Because I seem to remember. I think I've been to your channel on X.
I'm the rowdy guy on there. That I like to get on there and just share exactly what I've read. So what I like to do. One of my books that I'm reading right now is The Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. And what I like to do is I like to put tabs by every book that I've read. Of course, I have more tabs than pages in this book already. I'm not even done with it, right? I don't know if you can see it. Really.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so I like to read those books, and I just like to, when George was talking about receipts and stuff, I literally call myself the receipt man, because I literally have a library in my house, and any subject that we're talking about on X, I like to go there, grab a couple of books, sit them in front of me, and then go over, what is actually written in the books. And I only talk about the stuff that I tabbed up in my books. So I know, some people, they like to highlight or underline what they write or want to remember in their book, but it takes time for you to go back through each page to figure out what you highlighted and underlined. So what I like to do is I like to just have the tabs on the outside, like almost like an index. You can go straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, but some people get frustrated with old Tyrone, because he's like, "Hey, well, just a second, because actually the text says," and then they're like, "Yeah, but I've been saying this for 10 years," and it's like, "Yeah, but the text says." He's not a dick about it though. But you should definitely bring Dave on your show one of these times, Tyrone, because he does have a lot of good stuff to talk about.
I would love to. I mean, I don't have a college degree in any of this stuff. I read from the people who have the respect and reputable degrees and credentials. So I follow everybody, even the exoteric, it doesn't matter. A scholar that's not even graduated from a college or anything. I follow what they say, and all I want to do is get to the bottom of what they're saying, because if we all take the pieces of the puzzle and put them together, we won't know until we put it together to see what we have. And that means we have to work together to accomplish that. Yeah, we can do it by ourselves, but it takes much longer, and not one person can read every single book and watch every single documentary. So we have to take the pieces of the puzzle from each one of us and put them on that table.
And you don't have to have a degree to participate in figuring out the puzzle. I mean, everybody has different backgrounds that can contribute in some fashion, no matter how little you might think it is.
Right. Yeah.
You could even just have a show like Mike and Dave's Multiverse and bring people on to talk about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No one person has to figure out the whole puzzle. If you just decide that you're going to try to figure out your corner of it and share that with others, as opposed to searching for the next person that has all the answers, that's how we'll progress.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I say that a lot because a lot of people like to ask, well, what are your credentials? And I don't really have any, except the fact that I take some courses from edx.org, which is a respectable, reputable website that has classes from Harvard to MIT to all kinds of places. You can take their 6-week courses for free. So I get a lot of my information from there too. I actually have a couple of certificates, actually some from Harvard. Y'all was talking about the pyramids. I actually took a class. One of my first classes was about the pyramids, and I learned a lot. And the Albert Pike book, he talks a lot in the first 4 or 5 chapters of his book, or he calls them degrees, I should say. He talks about the pyramids. So I'm bringing 4 or 5 books that I say is the research material that everybody should read at least one time. And I'm going to bring those sources with me just so that people can see that, hey, these are the books that I think people should read, especially like when you're talking about the Sumerians, the electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature. I have some of the Maya codices here. I have another one under there. I like to bring them. And like I said, I have tabs on all of them, in different places. So You know, I try to bring the sources. I have the New Jerusalem Bible, which a lot of people say is the most accurate Bible out there, and I have the
77 books, not 66 like these other scrub editions.
Yep, I have that. I have, yeah, exactly. So I
Ethiopian Orthodox, so 88 books. I got to get a hold of that.
Or the the Ethiopian Bible. You know, there's so many different ones. So I try to have all that and read them at least once. They know that I don't talk about the books until I read them at least 3 times. I have to read a book at least 3 times before I feel like I am confident in what I'm saying about it.
Wild. Well, do you have any specific questions you're saving for the Italian team or what? The Coffee Project guys?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Not really in particular. I'm actually going to write some questions down in my Kindle because I got some notes that I wanted to. I have a stack of books over there that, like the pyramids, the UFOs, the Atlantis, every subject that's on there. I went through the Cosmic Summit website, looked at all the subjects that people are going to talk about, pulled my books to the side, and I'm going to put a list of questions that I might have.
Perfect. Well, it's getting close to 9. My sciatica's bothering me. So we'll start wrapping it up. But I just wanted to bring Tyrone in because he's always supporting the show and he's always commenting in the chat. And he's going to be rolling with us this weekend, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I've never met you two in person before, so like George said, we're buddies online, but we're going to be friends in person. And, I just can't wait to meet you guys. There's a bunch of people in the chat I wanted to shout out. Mike, you want to hit the closeout music?
Yeah, I'll play us off.
Buck on here. Thanks for all you do, George. That's actually the other Mike, right, Dave?
Oh, yeah, Mike Bucci. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need a picture of the 4 of us together.
Yes,
for sure.
Shout out to Sarah here. Watch her new podcast, Universe Unveiled. They got 2 episodes going. They're working directly for the Institute for Natural Philosophy. They got a banging lineup of guests already on the go, so I'm really excited about that. Tammy, I don't think we've had Tammy in the chat before, but if she's still watching, she's going to be at Cosmic Summit. She's driving down from New York, so thank you so much. Brittany, you just told me to remind everyone that to follow us on Instagram if you haven't already, because she's going to be posting pictures and we're going to be posting pictures and updates all weekend from Cosmic Summit. Little Vibe, longtime watcher of the show. What's up, Little Vibe? Shout out to Little Vibe.
Best music out there. I got to tell you, I'm glad you brought him up. I love Lil Vibe. He is a very great musician. He plays great music, has absolutely great knowledge out there. I always support him and play his music. So yes, Lil Vibe.
Yes, sir. Rubate, this guy, Rubate, he's from Australia. I had a conversation with him offline for the first time because we communicate a lot just through interactions on X. But this guy loves this shit, and he's behind the scenes pushing some of this information out, and I just want to really shout that guy out. Follow him on X, Rubate. How do we support the show, Mike?
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Buy our book of the month. It's Deities, Myths, and Tryptamines by RN Vooght. I'm sorry, I'll flash that up on the next one. I keep forgetting to grab the book.
No worries.
Thanks, Rick, for coming on our show, for being our friend, and for sending us some books. Support us and Rick Vooght by buying his book from our link. We've also got a link tree where you can find all of our platforms. You can donate directly, buy me a coffee, via.com products, all the above.
Thanks Galaxy Treats as well. Galaxy Treats as well. Yeah,
that's right.
Check out some hemp products. Support the multiverse. How do we find Dave Fitzpatrick?
Oh, I'm at D Great Awakening on X. Same on YouTube.
Very cool. Dave's got some videos of him going to Egypt on a Ben Van Kerkwijk tour. So there's some interesting stuff to check out on there, and he's always involved in the online discussions on X. And his interview of Humans of the Multiverse comes out next Friday. So if you want to learn more about Dave, we get into it all. And everything that was a conspiracy theory over the last 20 years that became true, we talk about it next week with Dave. So check that out. And Ty, where do we find you at, bud?
You can find me on Twitter or X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. And TikTok. I make TikTok shorts.
Nice. And that's and you can find all that on his website, rebirthoftheword.com.
Oh yeah, and my book too.
And his book, yes, that was a book. We already had that as a book of the month, didn't we?
Yep.
You sure did. Yep.
Yeah. But you could still use our link to get it. Actually, if Brittany wants to flash that really quick. Any final words for the audience, Dave?
Well, just to hope to meet whoever's watching this thing and they're planning on attending the conference. I hope to meet you here in just a couple of quick days, including the three of you guys. So, going to be fun.
Perfect. Tyrone, what do you got? Final words.
I just got just read books. Just read, gain knowledge by any means necessary. If you can't read a book, watch a documentary, but always do your due diligence and research the material for yourself.
Good words.
Love it.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, guys. Thanks for we're glad to have you as friends. We can't wait to meet in person. Everybody's watching. Thank you. Be safe and be kind to everyone this week. Peace out. We'll see you later.
And I just want to thank the shit out of George Howard for putting on the Cosmic Summit, spending his own damn money. That's why Mike and I and Brittany grabbed an oar, and that's why you guys should too. Buy those virtual tickets. 3 cams, promo code 3 cams. You get that ticket for $50. You get access to everything. Good night.
Good night.